Hey, how you doing? I'm Ken Kinter, and this is, I think, day 352 of my journey through leukemia. I apologize, as always, for not doing regular, timely updates. I'm going to file that under no news is good news. Um, so, just in the way to give you an update, I have been out of the hospital now for 4 months since mid-December, and I guess technically in remission. However, I'm still participating in outpatient chemo, which is seen as being more preventive, but they're still keeping that going. There have been a lot of differences. First of all, it's been really nice being out of the hospital for 4 months after barely being able to stay out for a month last year with 11 admissions. May have noticed the hair has come back to a certain degree. It was starting to come back before in the last video, and it has come in curly. I have heard that chemo hair can be curly hair. Um, hey, whatever. I'm good. Uh, this has been it hasn't been quite as easy as it was made out to be. There's always a bunch of little snags. I spent about a month with housebound basically because my ANCs, for those of you that don't know, ANCs are the majority of your white blood cells, and they're really the warrior, I call them that, the warrior blood cells. They attack foreign things in your body. There's like three different ways that they kill and get rid of things. And those are, when you don't have those, you are kind of defenseless. So I was in good health and felt absolutely fine. However, I had no immune system. I had zero point 0.0 ANC. So that means I couldn't go anywhere. So if it wasn't for blood work, I wouldn't have left the house at all for like a month. Still able to work, still felt okay, appetite good, energy good, but not able to go anywhere. And boy, did I get pretty stir crazy. And at the end of that, Paige and I decided to take a nice long drive somewhere, and we were in a car accident. So the front end of my car got mashed up, and thanks to Dad, I had a loaner, so I could still get out and around and do things. Not that I was allowed to go too many places and do too much, but in the meantime, my ANCs rebounded. So um, I went from being in the hospital all the time to being out for 2 weeks at a time. Now they've got me 3 weeks at a time, and hopefully I'll be getting on my monthly routine, which is how we were supposed to start. Supposed to start in December and then once a month. But between me wrapping up chemo, the infusion part of chemo, the inpatient part of chemo, then having the flu, then having RSV, my immune system just, I mean, it just got thrashed, and it didn't rebound right away. And I had fear that it wasn't going to rebound at all, but of course it did. Very grateful for that. So now I would say that life is about 85% back to normal. I feel delicate. I feel frail. I feel like somebody who's been very sick for a while, but I can work. I can go out. I can do things. Uh, I think things of a physical nature, I'm still being very careful with, but I can do most things that I was doing before and probably enjoy them much more because I'm not taking them for granted. So that part is really good. Um, I don't feel as tired. I don't have to nap every day like I did before. Don't have chemo mouth. Uh, we would say the main symptoms are decreased energy, and I believe that the chemo drug I'm getting, mercaptopurine, I believe, causes a lot of congestion. So there's a lot of head congestion, postnasal drip, and coughing. So you can actually kind of hear it. It sounds like I have a cold all the time. It's a nuisance, but it's infinitely better than what I've had to deal with before. And now, as we're getting, as I sit here right now, I'm just starting to experience anniversaries, my first anniversary of all this mess. I got really sick after being sort of sick through March and into April of last year. I really got sick over Easter weekend, which I believe was April 7, 8, 9 of last year. And that's really when I got sick. And now it's April 4th. So we just got past Easter in that weekend. And it's really taking me back to where all this stuff started. And of course, April 13th, I went into the hospital, and the 17th, I was formally diagnosed. I consider that my anniversary date. So all that stuff's coming around, and so there's an emotional impact to that. I think about that. I think about how grateful I am to still be here. some of the stuff that I've been through in the last year seems very surreal, like it didn't happen. There's like a dreamlike quality to it, but it's also always there. You don't always get a chance to, everything's different. I'm gonna have to look at my hair to know that things are, different in my life, and to some degree they will never be the same. Um, there has been some changes for the worse that have happened through this whole thing. I can tell you that even if your insurance covers all of your medical bills, there's enough ancillary bills to clean you out. Anyway, that can definitely happen. The stress and strain on PJ and I has, that is a significant thing. That to a degree, I think we're still kind of recovering from that. Like, when the major stress is going on, you deal with that. When the major stress is over, then that's when the nervous breakdown happens, because now you can have it. You've taken care of business, and now you're like, okay, now I'm going to lose it, and that's fine. I've earned it. So we're a little bit in that stage now, and we're also right on the edge of being able to travel, which I think has been the biggest missing piece for us. We love to travel, and for the last year and plus, this has dominated our lives. We haven't been able to go anywhere. Driving to New York City for dinner, or a day in New York City, has been the big travel day, and we have so many more plans than that. And of course, my bucket list is completely is covered in places that you need to get to by plane. And I can tell you right off the bat, the places that I want to go, I want to see New Orleans again. I've got at least one more walk down Bourbon Street on my list. Sedona is where I go to recharge my spiritual batteries, and I feel like my phone when it hasn't been plugged in for a while. So I want to get back there. Egypt is the bucket list trip for me. If I were to make one trip in my life, that would be the one. So we're working on the logistics of that. And we may have the ability to go to Scotland with a friend. Scotland's on the list. So if we have an opportunity to do that, we're going to do that. And there's all these bucket list things that I've got lined up in the next year or so ready to go. And I want to keep that focus. I want to keep the focus on, these are the things I want to fill my life with, whether I have 1 year, 5 years, whatever. The only information that I've ever read about life expectancy in leukemia is that you have a 55% chance of living 5 years. So that's basically a coin toss at 5 years. I stopped reading about it after that. I decided I didn't want to know any more about that. However, what I have done is I've made a tentative 5 year plan. 5 years takes me right up to the edge of early retirement. 5 years is a nice even period of time. And so in these 5 years, I want to do, you know, uh, as many bucket list things as I possibly can. And I want to live mindfully of what I've been through and of the second chance that I've gotten, because there was no guarantee I was going to survive this the first time through. And I know some people don't, and I've seen people that haven't. So I am very aware of the gift I've been given again, and I'm determined not to take it for granted again. Um, so that's kind of where I am now. Um, Coming up on the anniversary, second anniversary of my mother's death. So there's a lot. There's a lot going on in the world. But I'm very grateful to be here. And again, I cannot, there's no way for me to express my gratitude for the people at Fox Chase and at Capital Health Pennington, and all of the people, including you, my friends, my colleagues, my coworkers, uh, family, my wife, uh, the dog, the critters, everybody. You all made my life so wonderful and make my life so wonderful that I was willing to go through any amount of torture to get back to it. I mean, any punishment they could dish out, I could take. If I survived it, that was it. All I had to do was be able to survive it, um, because all of this is worth it. And I've had to explain to people how silly some of these simple pleasures feel. Uh, I go out with a friend of mine, and we sit at a diner somewhere for 2 to 3 hours and just talk. And it sounds dumb as hell, but it's the highlight of my week. Because I just get to catch up and talk, and all those sorts of things. And it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. And I've gotten to have, I refer to it as my victory tour, where I get to see everybody who's been an important part of my life and just sit down and have that day with them. And I'll never forget those days. I'll always say, that was a day I sat out at Marcello's with these guys for all day. We just sat there the entire day, and it was a beautiful day. Or going kayaking with people and any of that stuff. These are they were always my favorite things, but now I have a more keen awareness of how precious they really are. And like anything else, you know, once something's threatened or it's taken away, you realize you're much more aware of its real value. So that's kind of where things are now. Um, you know, I do have concerns going forward, and I'm still. You've seen in previous videos where you talk about this being a sprint or a marathon. You know, I'm coming up on a year, and there have been people at this much longer than me. So I'm not exactly at the marathon stage yet, but it's a different mindset. And the other nice part about being on this side of it, not on the infusion side, but on the home side, is you can fill your life with many things that aren't as much about the medical treatment. The medical treatment takes up part of every day. You know, I still take a lot of medications, not as many as I did, but I still take a lot of medications. Still careful about things, still watch for things and all that kind of stuff. It's not like it never happened, but it's not pervasive. It's not all day, every day. And for a long time, for most of last year, it's been all day, every day. So it's really nice to just be able to put the burden down, go out and watch a game like a human being, sit with friends at a table and just talk. It's nice to be there for other people's. They've been there for me. We've had some deaths of some people close to us recently, and it's just nice to be able to step up and help other people instead of, you know, I'm always more comfortable providing the help than getting it. But I've gotten a big dose of getting help in the last year. So anyway, I feel like I'm rambling, but anyway, it's very good to be back. I hope all is going well with you wherever you are, and certainly hope you're in good health and in a place of gratitude and joy about your life, because that's really what it's all about. And again, don't wait until something gets threatened to appreciate its full value. Anyway, all the best, and I will keep you posted when I got blood work coming up in another week or so. So that's my next thing, and it's always nerve wracking going to get the blood work. It's like a reverse lottery. You're going to buy a ticket to see if you're the big winner, you get to go home. You know, if you're not the big winner, you might end up having to stay. So those are stressful days, and I'll probably talk about that when we come around next time. But it's great to be back, and it feels like being back. So all the best, and I'll talk to you real soon.